Hello learners, welcome back to this class for ICT, and today we are going to talk about lesson 2 or the second topic of the ICT. We're going to summarize this operating system, that is a topic 2, and you are going to have a solid understanding of these summarized videos and explanation. So that's it, and also touch in that subscription pattern. So we are talking of that is in information communication technology. But today we are going to talk of the brain of the computer or the operating system. We are going to talk about operating system. Operating system. So from the word operate, it's something that it maintain or it manage. So that is what it means as what operating system. So it is a system. Remember, computer is a system, is a form of combination of several parts, either hardware or software. So we can define what is an OS and say uh, is a system, is a system, is a system that manage, that manage, that manage hardware and software. So it is a system that manages the what? Hardware and software. Remember what we said in the introduction class, that hardware are what? That tangible part of a computer. Well, software is that part you can't feel, you can't touch, but it is there. It is there. So that is a definition of operating system. That is a definition of operating system. Then we have to go to look at the functions of operating system, the function of OS. As a student of CPA, you must understand what is the function of OS. Number one, as we have said here, it manages the hardware and software. We can repeat the same and say manage. It manage hardware and software. Hardware and software. Number two, also so when we say it manage hardware and software, this is an umbrella term. It is an umbrella term. So when we say it manage hardware and software, when we talk of what? Booting of a computer, remember booting of a computer, that is what? Turning off or on a computer, which you go ahead and explain about the cold booting, and what? Warm booting, warm booting. Also, this operating system, it does the loading of these softwares. Remember, computer composed of several software, which they have to be loaded in different perspective and different capacity so that your computer can work efficiently and effectively. Efficiently and effectively. So that is one main function of this operating system. Then we're going to list the type of operating system, types of operating system or OS, the type of OS. So what are these types of OS? So we talk of, I can draft this so that we can write here. So we have number one as a type of operating system, which is we have a desktop. Remember, desktop is part of the hardware. Desktop. We also have the server. Server is part of the software. We also have the server. And also we have the mobile. We have the mobile. And then we have embedded softwares. We have embedded software like IC, integrated circuit, like IC, integrated circuit. Those are what is called the embedded software. And then after that, after understanding the types of operating system, you also need to understand the computer booting. I have said it before, but we also need to know. It is part of this topic of operating system. It is part of this topic of operating system. Remember, this is just a summarized class for block revision. So we have the computer booting, booting, computer booting, computer booting. So we have to define what is a computer booting. And we can define as a process of starting a computer, a process of starting a computer, a process of starting a computer. That is called computer booting. So if you have that pattern, which is written off with that, if you click that pattern, remember you are doing what? Computer booting. You are switching off that computer or you are switching on that computer. That process is called booting. That process is called booting. And then we have now, so we have the types of booting, the types of bootings. Examiner also might ask you types of booting. We said we have the warm booting, and cold booting, Warm booting is that you are turning on a computer which it was in operation, but you decided to switch off, maybe to go take your tea or take your lunch, and then you come back immediately and switch on that computer. That computer was not completely off. It was just operating, their softwares, everything was just operating. It's only that the screen was in a sleep mode. So once you click that button, then you are booting that computer, but we call it the warm booting. We call it the warm booting. Now, the cold booting is now you switch a computer today, you come back tomorrow and open that computer, then that one now we can call the cold booting because everything was completely off, including the hardware's connection, peripheral devices, including the softwares. It was completely off. This ones now we call the cold booting. We called the cold booting. So after that, we also need to see the selection and acquisition of operating system. When do we acquire this operating system? When do we select this operating system? Then it takes us to what? The acquisition and selection of operating system. So let's see that. Let's see that. So you write for me this selection and acquisition of OS, selections and acquisition of OS. So you can say it refer to the criteria, choosing and OS, refer to criteria of choosing and OS, That is the definition. But remember, examiner is someone who is creative. He wants you always to fail. Examiner don't want you to pass. If examiner wanted you to pass, you could have not asked all these questions. So you know the definition is a criteria of choosing an OS. Now the examiner will ask you, give us this criteria of choosing an OS, or what are the factors to be considered before acquiring an operating system. Number one, my good people, we are talking of space. Remember, desktop or hardware is part of the operating system. So we are talking of space. It will occupy which space? Do you have enough space in your workspace? Number two is the cost. Your budget fit this operating system. Have you budgeted enough for this operating system? That will take us the question of cost. Number two is the expert. Do you have the expert who will fix this operating system when it is working and when it is not working? Then that takes you the question of what? Do I have a required skills? Or do I have the people who can operate these things? And then number 4 is the worn out. So when we have the one out, is it something that you can easily get? Or it is something that once it is not working probably, it is done. You cannot find it anywhere. No. So when you are acquiring any operating system, you should check whether if I don't have this system, do I have alternative to source another operating system which it work the same function as this one? That will take us to the question of what if it is not working? Do I have alternative? So that make us the end of this topic of operating system. You need to summarize these notes because we are approaching an exam session and you people should master this concept. Don't cram anything, you need to master because examiner can go outside of this context and ask several questions. So thank you and keep on asking the question in that comment. And also, we don't charge you everything for this video. What we only charge you is that subscription button and that like button down there.